Michael, okay. Todd Jordan, David Little, and Stafford Young. Love having these guys to help us. It's awfully awesome. We don't acknowledge often enough, but we are greatly appreciative of the efforts of staff and of our awesome clerk, Lisa Brown. So now, members, we have House Bill 1035, even year elections and voting in Pink Hill. Representative Humphrey, you are recognized to present your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good morning, member. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a second. It's a PCS. I think there was some spelling errors. There's a PCS without objection. The PCS is before us. Okay.
Right. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good morning, members. This bill came to us by the town of Pink Hill. It originated in Pink Hill, and they simply want to go to even year elections, obviously for obvious reasons, to save the town money and to encourage greater voter turnout. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Let me have the microphone back. Any questions or discussions? Representative Dahl.
I just have to check. Do you have any, they are 100% on board, and if they aren't, I can come back and you'll retract this bill.
I think he probably could personally have talked to all 451 residents of the city.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the other reason they would not want to have those odd year elections.
Okay.
So I'm assuming, Representative Dahl, that is a motion. Other questions? Representative Rubin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In what way did they express their, was it informally? Did they pass a resolution? In what way did they express that they wanted this?
Thank you for the question. To answer both questions at the same time, they did pass a resolution, unanimous resolution at the town.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Representative Almond.
Motion at the appropriate time.
This is, I believe, the appropriate time. I don't see any more questions or discussions. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill will be so reported and referred to rules. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next, we have House Bill 1067. Representative Kyle Hall, Rural Hall Elections, Unaffiliated Candidates. And there's a PCS, and without objection, the PCS is before us. Representative Hall, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In 2017, the City of Winston-Salem made a similar change to what we're doing here for the town of Rural Hall in compliance with Article 11 to allow the Forsyth County Board of Elections to prescribe the rules and regulations determining the date and time petitions must be submitted and the content requirements of the petition thereof. I know of no opposition to this bill, and to answer Representative Rubin's question to the first presenter, I don't believe that there was a resolution from the town of Rural Hall, but the mayor and the town manager both met with me, and again, I don't know of any opposition.
Representative Dahl.
So are the races in this town nonpartisan or partisan?
Last year, we changed them to partisan, and that's one of the reasons why this bill is necessary.
Further question? Further discussion? If not, Representative Ward.
Yes, I have a question on the bill analysis. According to the bill analysis, I think that probably Ms. Churchill can answer this better than Representative Hall. It states that the petition with the claim for, with the chair, file a petition with the chair or director of the Forsyth County Board of Elections on or before 12 noon on the day of the primary election. My question is this: how are they going to verify the signatures on the petition and get them on the ballot within that short period of time?
Ms. Sammons?
So the petition would need to be filed by the person seeking to be on the ballot by 12 noon on the date of the primary, and that would then allow their name to appear on that November general election ballot as an unaffiliated candidate. So they would there's a time set in the statutes in Article 11 of Chapter 163 that describes the verification process, and that this would allow the county boards that time to verify the signatures, and then the name would appear on the November ballot.
I think that's the,
Thank you.
I think the most clear is what I just said to Representative Hall. Unaffiliated candidates don't have a primary. Representative Dahl.
Well, so since unaffiliated is the largest growing voting bloc, why wouldn't they have a primary? I mean, there could be two unaffiliated, and how are we going to take care of that? Because, I mean, that could happen. I mean, we don't have it now, but it certainly could happen.
I can defer to staff, but I think if you have that many unaffiliated, it doesn't matter. They're not recognized as a party, therefore they don't have a primary. Okay. And Representative Ward, you're recognized for motion? Okay, you don't want to make a motion? You told me you did.
Thank you. I make a motion that we disapprove the original bill, approve the PCS, and carry it to, or forward it to Rules of the House.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the bill shall be so reported. Okay. Our last bill is House Bill 1038, at-large elections in Jackson City Council. Representative Gable, Representative Shepherd, you're recognized. Yes, and with that, there is PCS, and without objection, the PCS is before us. This is what's called good committee work, that they've gone ahead and fixed the problems before we get here. So if you're recognized to present the bill.
Thank you. So this bill, pretty straightforward. Currently, Jacksonville has the mayor and 2 councilmen that are elected at large, and then 4 elected by a ward system. We're just making all, getting rid of the ward system and making them all at large. The main reason for this is because some of the wards have about 1,200 people that will vote in them, and another one might have 200. So we're not getting real adequate representation there, and population issues. So we're just trying to make this all even, and so we don't have to keep updating maps and making it really difficult on the city. So I'd be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
All right, we have some questions. I think I saw Representative Ball's hands first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excuse my voice, getting over cold. Because this has happened several other places, that there have been changes from district election versus state, countywide, or a combination of those. Wouldn't it be possible just simply to change how the wards were drawn so that there can be election of those person closest to their people as opposed to running at large? Makes sense to me.
Yeah, so they have done, obviously redistricted in the past like we do for our legislative seats, but the issue we run into there is because the base in Camp Lejeune gets drawn into it, then none of those people on Camp Lejeune ever participate in municipal elections, so you get a very small pocket of people that are electing their one councilman, whereas you have the other ones on the other side of town where there are a ton of people voting and having a real elections. That's the issue that we keep running into. So we think this way you're getting more representation because you're able to vote for everybody, and then it's all equal for everybody as well.
Okay.
Just a quick follow-up, if I might.
You follow up?
And you have received support from these people who are voting now all through the area as opposed to voting for someone in their ward.
Yes, we've received that. That's the whole point of this bill, is we had so many people ask us to do this.
Well, you know, we like to please the people, don't we?
Yes. Representative Dahl.
So I actually spent all weekend on this back and
goodness.
forth. And with the council, and the council is very concerned about this. They're very concerned about getting rid of the wards because it gets rid of the voice of certain community voices, and they're afraid that once they go all at large, it will be the bulk, whoever the bulk of the voters are will get those candidates, and it could be a very skewed council because they're not getting their votes. I understand about Camp Lejeune, and maybe there should be a different look at this. because when we go at large, we have a lot, when we go all at large, we have people that feel disenfranchised. So, I mean, I have no choice but to vote no on this because the council has not asked for this. And we have to respect city government before our needs, I do believe.
Representative Shepherd?
I was just going to mention that, ma'am, thank you, Chair, that the city of Jacksonville was at large at one time until they annexed the base. They took part of the base in for the population, so it would justify some of the grants they were asking for with the federal government. So then they created a ward system after that. And 90% of the people that live on base don't vote here, they vote at home. And so it's sort of disappropriated because you got more people voting in one ward than you do another. So it is a little unfair the way it is set up now. So this would take care of that. Thank you.
Do you have any questions? Okay, comments? Okay. You may have follow-up.
There is more than one solution to every problem. And I don't see this as a sound, solution, especially when I've had so many calls. I rarely get calls from council or anybody. I mean, I don't have anything to do with Jacksonville. So I just think that we might want to look at other solutions.
And that's interesting because I don't recall getting a single call. But Representative Monsey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I appreciate Rep. Dahl's due diligence. I just want to be clear, want to pose this to y'all. Have the mayor and city council of Jacksonville, have they supported this?
The mayor indicated to me that he was very supportive of this, and I've had other council members. There's probably some that do not, and there's some that do. And plus, a lot of my phone calls have come from citizens in the community that have asked for this.
Follow up.
You can follow up.
Yep. Has that come in the form of a resolution, kind of getting at Representative Rubin's question on prior bills, but has there been a resolution of support for this from the city council and mayor?
I haven't seen one from the city council, no. I've just talked to them individually.
Go.
Representative Dixon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think we could make an argument if you're talking about pure democracy, which we don't have, but if we did have pure democracy, this would be the ideal because this truly gives the true majority the vote.
Okay. Representative Rubin, I saw you first.
Thank you. So we've had obviously new case law around the Voting Rights Act. We also have, just a couple years ago, Allen v. Milligan. What analysis was done? Let me back up, actually. When I looked at the charter language that's being struck in this, it identifies two of the districts as minority wards. Was that something that you took into consideration when putting this bill forward? Let me ask that first.
And that was not the intention of getting rid of it for that purpose. It was, as we stated earlier, for population because, again, we have one district that has 1,200 voters and another that has 200 and one that has about 190. It's kind of uneven, and that was our thought process of it.
Follow up, Madam Chair?
You follow up?
I hear that. I mean, we don't do that anywhere else where we look at we look at the number of voters. We don't look at the number of people who vote. Otherwise, our House districts are going to be totally wacky with that because House districts have very different voting rates. But my real question is around these recent Supreme Court decisions, both Allen and then the Louisiana case from last week. What analysis was done to make sure that the change that you're making complies with Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which even with last week's decision still exists, and they've had lawsuits related to these types of things in this jurisdiction?
I'll ask Ms. Simmons that question, if any kind of analysis was requested or done.
Jessica Sammons, Legislative Analysis. Representative Rubin, I'm not aware of any analysis that was done from a Section 2 perspective.
Follow-up question, Madam Chair?
Good follow-up.
So there was no analysis on how the change affects minority voters' ability to elect candidates of their choice, whether there's racially polarized voting in Jacksonville, or whether minority preferred candidates tend to succeed in citywide elections or primarily within the ward structure. And I'm asking those questions because those are the analysis under the law. Has that analysis been done? Happy for that to go to staff.
Ms. Simmons.
Representative Rubin, I am not aware of whether or not any analysis has been done.
And I think what you heard from the members here is that it's taking into account the military basis, which is a very transient population that's probably not going to be involved in local politics.
I understand that. My question, Madam Chair, is just around our legal compliance. And obviously, I would hate to see the city of Jacksonville subject to more lawsuits because we didn't do our diligence, because that will lead to legal fees even if they ultimately win. Madam Chair, I call for the yeas and nays. Thank you.
And I'm just consulting with them as to whether there are other things they want to be looking at, but let's see. Representative Belk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have to talk about my town because I am not familiar with Jacksonville. But at one time, we had only at-large members. And at a certain time before we went to district, we had every single member of our city council was elected within a 1 mile radius, one neighborhood. They represented that neighborhood. And it was totally different from all the neighborhoods in our town. And that's why we went to district so that we could spread that out because they were representing a single town. And I think a lot of people who have gone from at-large to district, that is the purpose. The purpose is to spread that out, not to completely get rid of at-large because we still do have at-large, but we have districts. And going to turnout, and that's what you're talking about, is you're talking about some particular places don't have turnout, and you know, that's where you go and say, okay, we have to come up with some education, we have to come up with some incentive to get those people to understand that they need their voices, their vote. So, thank you.
Okay. And I thank you for all the comments. Is there any more comments by the committee? So I think the members would like to pull the bill and take a look at some of your suggestions, particularly in light of the military base. I think at one point what they showed me though was a district that currently is like this big and hardly anything in it, that actually goes out and reaches another area, so it's sort of a donut hole kind of thing. And so they want to look as to whether there might be a better option versus continuing on with what they want to do. So let's give them some time and we'll pull this bill. And with that being said, there's no further business. We are adjourned.